That is something that has changed me to my core. That has changed my perception of my existence and my meaning of life here on this earth. What I'm about to share with you has changed me in unimaginable ways, and it's something that I can't talk to most people about. So go grab your wine. This is about to be a really long video. So go grab your drink, your snacks, and let's talk. It's been a very long time since I've made a video like this, but I have been so called to share this message, to share this experience, to share this knowledge that I have. And if you're seeing this, it's because this is something that you actually need to hear. So I've truly been going through this enlightenment over this last couple of months, over life, obviously, but more so lately. It started with interdimensional beings, and I've been down this rabbit hole ever since. And these conversations are not conversations that you can have with just anybody, because a lot of people, one, don't believe in it, two, aren't aware of life, because a lot of people judge you and they kind of mark you off as crazy if you're in the wrong crowd talking about something of this nature with people. So I'm just at a very different place in life, and this is stuff that a lot of people sometimes never get to experience in their lifetime, never get to understand in their lifetime, but also that most people don't really understand. And when you talk about these things, you start to sound crazy, like you seriously sound like you need to be committed when you're speaking to people who have not been enlightened in this way. So I have been heavily invested in spirituality for, I want to say, most of my adulthood. I would say that I started to understand spirituality around 2013. There are like very specific memories that I can recall where I know that I was intentionally exuding a certain energy or, controlling my thoughts, so on and so forth. I'm in this place in my life where I've been enlightened on so many things, like the meaning of life, consciousness, spirituality, manifestation, quantum physics, the science behind it all, the 2D, the 3D, the 4D, and all the dimensions here on out, the universe, interdimensional beings, aliens, all of that. And if none of that is ringing a bell for you, then this is probably not the video for you. But if you've landed here and any of those topics are something that you've been also on your own journey understanding, I really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to give me a follow, comment down below, because this is going to be a very big topic of conversation on this channel. I have a very big calling to share these messages and these thoughts that I've been thinking and things that I've been learning and experiencing, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings. In my lifetime, I'm understanding many people who don't ever open their minds past a certain level. And there is a much deeper meaning to life than waking up, your routine, your personal goals. It wasn't really until, I want to say, like 2020, where I personally feel like my brain fully developed, like my frontal lobe developed. I was understanding this deeper meaning of life. Maybe my chakras opened, my third eye opened, but it took me down a very dark place in which I was met with a lot of darkness, a lot of negativity, a lot of really bad energy. And it isn't until, I want to say recently, maybe these last 2 years, that I've been truly understanding and looking for the meaning behind it all, right? It's very easy to live life and think life is about experiences. Life is about living life to the fullest. It's about, making the most money, achieving your personal goals. It's about seeing the world. It's about experiencing new experiences and doing the most with the time that you have here. And I feel like that is the surface level understanding of life and our purpose of being here, right? Just being the best you that you can be and achieving what you need to achieve in the time span of 24 hours every day, etc. In 2019, I lost my grandma. She passed away from cancer. We watched her take her last breath. That was a very traumatic experience for me. It took me down this path of, I had this fear of dying. I developed health anxiety. I was always scared of dying. I was scared of something being wrong. I was scared of losing my life and not having lived enough life. And I was scared that I was running out of time. And I was also struggling with the fact that my grandma was no longer here. I could no longer call her. I could no longer hear her voice. I could no longer hug her. I could no longer drive to her house. I couldn't call her after work. Things like that. Just regular grief things. You are missing the person, whoever that is to you, as grief hits. You're missing this person in your life that was a constant figure in your life, and all of that love and that pain and never being able to talk to them again, and all of those things really, really hit me hard. And it sent me down a very dark path. But then there was this peace that came with it. And it's really hard to explain to most people, but it's something that I share with people who are dealing with grief that I come across since. Um, there's this kind of peace, right? There's this pain of like, it's all over. That's it. It's done. There's no more. There's no going back. Can't bring her back. Can't feel her. Can't see her. Can't hear her. Can't talk to her. Nothing. And that's it. She's gone. No longer, right? And then there was a part of my soul that also felt like actually what this means is she's here forever. Like now I literally can't lose her because she's here, right? Her spirit is here, her energy is here. And this is going from like the basis of listening to like psychic mediums, a Long Island medium, things like that. And, just understanding that, okay, there may be an afterlife. There are people who can communicate with them, not having a true understanding, but they are still there, right? I could probably go see a psychic and talk to her and get a message from her or a sign or something of the sort. Right now she's not really gone. It's more permanent that she's actually here with me. Like now she can't ever leave. There's never going to be a fight that breaks us. There's never going to be distance in between us. Like now her spirit is just floating. And I would say that started what I'm about to get into next. So over these last couple of years after grief hit, I started making very poor decisions. I was in a very, very low vibrational state and I didn't even know it. I chalked it off to depression. I was dealing with a lot of negativity, a lot of dark energy. I want to say evil, honestly. Just that's I was consumed by all of that sadness, that pain, that grief. There was no hope for me, truly. My mental health was depleted. There was just so much wrong in my life. I think we can say that anybody who's been through a depressive state or just something bad in their life, it's like, the season of isolation, right? You find God, you're alone, you're working on yourself, you're working on your fitness, your eating habits, your health, you're in your own space, in your own apartment, like relearning how to live life and learning who you are and, finding happiness and joy. That was the surface level of where I was at. I was in peace in this apartment. I was by myself. I was learning to love myself again. I was thinking about manifestation and attracting positive energy and meditating and listening to the guided meditations and things of that nature. I was very heavy into manifestation. My business was booming. And then something changed, right? I stopped thinking about manifestation as what most people know it to be, right? To a lot of people, manifestation is spiritual. It's visualization. It's a deep knowing within. It is, writing things down multiple times. It's closing your eyes and seeing yourself there. It's surrounding yourself with vision boards of this thing that you so desperately want, these goals that you so desperately want to achieve. And that's where I was for a long time, and things started to go really well for me, and life honestly changed. Very different space than I was in. Mindset is completely different. Literal positive energy. That peace, like once you find that peace, once you truly find that peace, there's no negative energy with work, with people, with places, with circumstances. Yes, you're isolated. Yes, you're finding joy in yourself and relearning how to live on your own. However, there is something that comes with that peace that alters the brain chemistry. It rewires everything in your head. You're unlearning bad behaviors, you're unlearning bad habits, bad circumstances. That peace, you want to protect that, right? That's why isolation can be bad, because a lot of the time people just stay stuck in isolation because it just feels so good. Like your brain learns how to understand red flags. Your brain learns when things aren't good for you. You start understanding your nervous system a lot better. That's the biggest thing. It's like your nervous system is so regulated because it's not triggered, because there's no negativity around, and everything just feels so good all the time that now when something doesn't feel right. It's not just intuitive, it's in your body, it's in your soul. Like that you're not feeling well, your body's responding. Maybe you're nauseous, your mindset is like obsessive over something. Maybe you're ruminating, maybe you're just not feeling your best, you don't want to get out of bed. You'll start to learn that those things aren't normal. That's not normal life. Living at that low vibrational frequency is not normal at all. And when you find that peace and you isolate yourself, your nervous system, your brain chemistry, your thoughts, your mindset, your choices, everything just realigns with who you are at the essence of yourself, in your soul, right? You as a person. So I found that peace. I was in a good space, super spiritual, love being by water. These last couple of years, I'm enjoying my vacations. I'm seeing the world. We've gone to Aruba, Curacao, Puerto Rico, Portugal, Puerto Rico, Curacao again. Just seeing so many different places and living those experiences. And then what? Then you find that neuroplasticity is real, right? When you start doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, no matter if your comfort zone is good or bad, it doesn't really matter, just your everyday life, right? I was in a good place and now I'm traveling, I'm seeing the world, I'm talking to different people, and you start to realize that like life is just so much bigger than yourself. It's so much bigger than your everyday routine. Your problems are this small. Those bills that you might be stressing about, maybe the family issues that you're stressing about, the grief that you're dealing with, everything that you're dealing with becomes this small when you start to see the world as a landscape. It's a physical way to measure your problems are nothing in comparison to what this actual planet has to offer. And I have run into that experience a couple of times, just so many places, two very, very specific places. Oregon changed me. Puerto Rico changed me. Portugal absolutely changed me at the end of my existence. You start to realize that these experiences, these new memories that you're making, these new things that you're doing, these places that you're seeing, the scents that you're smelling, the food that you're eating, it starts to bring joy, like real, true, actual joy. You start to feel your cup being filled a little bit more. You start to think of better times. There's more that you want to see, achieve, experience, and it feels good. It feels great, right? Okay, so move past that, just in a genuine, really good space, surrounding yourself with positive people, positive vibes, new experiences. I start to get heavily invested in aliens, interdimensional beings. And there was so much that I didn't know. Like, I've always been somebody who believed in aliens because in my head, it's like the universe is so big and we are not the only planet. We are the only planet with life in our solar system, life as we know it, right? Humans that need water, that need food, etc. We are the only people, we're all that we know, but there has to be more to life, right? That's just something I've always believed in, but never like really truly went down a rabbit hole. So now I'm educating myself, and there's all these whistleblowers coming out. There's a whole conference about it. It's not just, people with tinfoil hats saying, yes, aliens exist. There are government officials that are seemingly pushing for disclosure, but there were so many reasons that I didn't understand why. So a lot of what I learned and a lot of what sticks with me is, obviously, there is alien life. This is obvious in my head. I don't like to say alien. I almost feel like that's a little derogatory, honestly. Interdimensional beings. People think just life that exists outside of life as we know it. So I'm like in all these videos and I'm like, some of these whistleblowers are professional disinformants in the military, but there are things that I didn't realize, right? The reason that they're pushing for disclosure is because this interdimensional life that exists, most people that are pushing for disclosure, specifically the whistleblowers in the government, are pushing for disclosure because they do believe it's a national security threat, and not a national security threat as in like an alien invasion. What I've come to learn is that there have been a lot of military bases that are holding nuclear weapons, had mass UFO sightings. It's almost like they're being stalked by UFOs that have a major concern for that, because there have been a lot of times where a UFO will come down and actually hover over the nuclear weapon and be able to shut it down for minutes at a time. And there is nothing that the military can do. So that's why it's a national security threat. So then it raises the question, are they actually interdimensional beings, or are these UFO sightings something that is from China, from Russia, from one of our enemies that are learning technology that we don't have, that we don't know to exist, in order to shut down our weapons, right? So there's that question. Are they aliens? Is it our enemy? And it's been really, really interesting to understand. Another big reason why they're pushing for disclosure is because whoever it is, whether it's an interdimensional being or another country, has been able to maneuver these UFOs in such a way that does not exist as we here in America know it. Our scientists and our allies have never seen any type of aerodynamic ability like this. And so physicists have learned to understand, quantum physicists have been studying the movement and the nature of these UFOs, how fast they move, how they can go from air to water, how they can, ping pong around like nothing. It's nothing that anything in our airspace can achieve. These crafts are bending time and space, quantum physically, right? These crafts are bending time and space. They're putting themselves in a bubble, essentially, is what they've learned after their studies, in a bubble that is able to move faster than the speed of light at ways that we can't even imagine, especially if you're not a quantum physicist, right? But they've understood that this is only possible by creating this bubble, and this bubble that they're in is clean energy. So what does that mean for us? That means that disclosure would be important because it's a new resource for us. It's clean energy. Oil would not have to exist. Energy would not have to exist the way that we know it, right? So there are many reasons. It's not just people who are, skeptical, superstitious, believe in things, conspiracies. There are many reasons that really do impact our planet, our life, our way of being as we know it. There are a lot of people who have had interactions with them. There's a lot of speculation, and I'm going to be very quick, and I'm probably going to make this an entire other video because I've done so much research on this, but this point is important because it brings me to my next point of consciousness and the meaning of life, and what, the rabbit hole that I've been down. I don't even like to say rabbit hole because that's such a negative connotation. I feel like it's not something to kill time. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart. But most people are like, well, if they're here, they haven't heard us, right? So a lot of people who have had interactions, allegedly, right? I do believe them. You might not, but it is what it is. These interactions that have been publicized all stem from when President Roosevelt, I believe it was Roosevelt, apparently had an interaction with people from the Intergalactic Federation. I sound so crazy when I talk about this stuff. I can't talk about this stuff with my friends. There's two people in my life that I can talk about this stuff with, but any other time that I bring it up, people look at me like I'm insane. But their government, okay, interdimensional being government, apparently, not Roosevelt, President Eisenhower's granddaughter is actually all over the internet telling the world that this actually is true. There has been a peace treaty, or there's been a treaty, a contract that Eisenhower made with apparently interdimensional beings, government officials, basically explained that they were here for resources, materials, things that they need for their ships, and they wanted to study us so that they can start creating hybrids. Why? Because they want to know that they can basically exist here with time. They're studying our planet. They want us to take care of our planet. They want us to take care of our people because they want to inhabitate this planet at some point in life, right? That's why they keep shutting down our nuclear weapons, because they do not want us to destroy this planet. But apparently there was an exchange and a contract where the president allowed for abduction so that they could do their research, and a lot of these abductees have the experience of like needles being stuck in them, and there has been some crazy true scientific evidence. We're talking DNA, hair follicles that come back as non-human DNA found, in these body parts, etc. I'll make another video about that. It's all to say that the reason that they're here is to understand us, right? They may have a different technology than we do. They're obviously hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us as far as technology, and they're able to get a little bit further in the solar system than we have yet to discover, right? But then it raises the question, is it space? Is it time? Are we all operating at the same time, same space, but it means something different up there than it does here because of gravity and all of those things. But it brings me into, they don't want to hurt us. And the biggest message that they have had was they want us to love, okay? They understand, and they just have an agreement that us humans here on Earth have free will, right? We're able to make our own decisions. If we blast off the nuclear weapons, then we do. They're not going to do much to interfere. If we decide to do this, that, and the other thing with science, that's completely up to us. They are not going to interfere. But their biggest message is that we need to take care of our planet, and we need to take care of each other. Love, 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 love. Okay, I'll make a whole other video about that, but let's move to the next topic that I've been heavily invested in. And this is what I feel called to share in my lifetime, right? Everybody has the big question of like, what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose, right? Now, quantum physicists will say that They're still looking for that answer, but scientifically, they know that we are not alone. They know there are places and planets in the universe that we cannot see. There are literally trillions of galaxies, and our one galaxy has all of these planets and all of life as it exists after the Big Bang, right? And so we can assume, and science proves, that there are many other galaxies. There was an example of a quantum physicist. I will show his book here. I've been watching a lot of his interviews. I can't remember his name. It starts with an M, but he basically said that think of a bathtub full of sand. There are 40 trillion little grains of sand in that bathtub, or something of the sort. Don't quote me on the number, but something that your mind can't grasp. That is how big the universe is. And each of those galaxies has planets and solar systems inside of them, right? And then there's the question of the dark matter. There are vacuums in space that are basically sucking up planets. And what is the belief? Quantum physicists believe that on the other side of those dark holes that we cannot access as human beings with the technology that we have today, there's a whole other universe. And so again, we'd be really silly to think that we were alone. Nonetheless, there is a lot more than us, okay? There is a lot more than us. And a big thing that I see is with people who maybe aren't going through any type of spiritual journey, they believe that the purpose of life is to just, again, achieve, be the best version of themselves, provide for their family. And it is so beyond us, you guys. It is so beyond your own personal journey. And I am going to do my best to explain it in the way that I've digested it and the way that I've been understanding. But how do I even get into this? It is just so much bigger than us. All right. So I guess the best way to move into this is I touched on quantum physics. I've been doing a lot of research and understanding about that. And that topic, great. This is a great segue. So the middle topic is manifestation. I used to think that manifestation was very spiritual. However, manifestation is nothing but quantum physics. I stopped looking at it as this spiritual experience that only people who were able to get in touch with themselves and their souls could understand. Manifestation is literally quantum physics. Everything is matter. Literally none of this is real, right? This is matter. This is a bunch of atoms. This is a bunch of atoms. There are a bunch of atoms in the air, electrons, protons. This is all stuff that is made up by little tiny particles of energy, okay? Think about magnets. Think about water. If you blast music next to a bowl of water, singing bowls, you will see the vibration in the water, okay? Our bodies are made up of 70% of water. So we are very, very heavily affected by the frequencies and the energies around us, even electric energy, right? Some of your devices can be set off by other devices if the electricity is so high. Negative energy can spread like crazy. This is why when you're around people who are in a bad mood, you get pissed off. Positive energy can spread in the same way. I'm sure there's somebody that you can think of that lights up a room whenever they walk in and suddenly you're in a better mood and you're laughing and you feel great. It's just so beyond us, you guys. It is very literally just science. Telekinetics are real. Telekinesis is real. You can move objects with your energy. Reiki is real. That's energy healing. That's somebody taking their energy and moving yours because energy is real. That is the science behind life, you guys. You can attract whatever it is that you want to attract, and you don't have to think about it and write it down 50,000 times. You put out the energy that you want to receive, and that's exactly what you're going to get back in this life. So if you want to be successful, you will wake up and have a routine of a successful person. If you consider yourself a miserable drunk, you're going to wake up, drink all day, sleep all day, fight all day. You are going to be vibrating at that low frequency. And so with quantum physics, there are different frequencies, right? There are so many different theories that have been proven scientifically, but all you really need to take from that, if you're not a science buff, is everything is energy. Everything is on a frequency. That's why they say that we can't really see aliens as they are, because they're in the 4D, right? Our cameras can't really capture that, because here on Earth, we're living in the 3D. We see things as 2D most of the time, but we are 3D beings. Everything in life, everything on this planet is 3D, but there is a fourth dimension, a scientific fourth dimension that you can't even understand, because your eyes, your human eyes, cannot see that fourth dimension. There is so much more to manifestation, to living the life that you want, than just, I'm going to be rich one day, I'm going to be successful one day, I'm driving that car, I'm driving that car, I'm driving that car. It is literally all energy. And that's really all that I have to say about that. You are very literally whatever it is that you think that you are. You can achieve anything that you can think that you can achieve. You will accomplish anything that you tell yourself you can accomplish. There's nothing in this world that can stop you from being the person that you're meant to be and achieving the things that you're want to achieve, whether they're good, they're bad, whatever it is that you set your mind to is possible. There are so many different possibilities in this lifetime. There are so many different realities happening all at once. And you make the decision to be on which reality, which frequency, wherever it is that you want to be. You're making that decision consciously every single second of every single day. There is a version of you that is operating at a very low frequency. There is a version of you that is operating as your highest self. There is a version of you that is operating at the frequency that you're at right now, and so many in between. And you are the only person who can control which reality you end up in. But there are so many different realities happening all at once. Then there's the conversation of parallel universes, which I haven't done enough research on that, but pretty much it's like a doppelganger theory. Like there is another planet with another Melanie living a different life, not far from this solar system at the same time, and we are all connected. Now for what I really wanted to talk about, the meaning of life. What is our purpose here? I have been heavily invested in consciousness. So a lot of what I've been researching lately is near-death experiences, okay? Consciousness, we are all conscious. We are all alive. The animals are alive. The plants are alive. Our planet has a consciousness. The universe is a consciousness. It's a living soul. That's what consciousness is, a living soul. Your laptop doesn't have a consciousness. Your hair clip doesn't have a consciousness. But anybody who is alive, who is breathing, who has life in them, anything, any creature, any sea creature has consciousness. Again, our planet as a whole has consciousness. I personally am on a spiritual journey. I will let you guys know in probably the next video. I am going on a very long trip, a very long solo trip out of this country. And, you know, when you do things like that and you're taking these spiritual journeys, there's a lot of like ayahuasca, the God molecule, ceremonies, things of that nature, psychedelics, things that bring you to a different level of consciousness, that open the heart and the soul in a way that you have never experienced here on earth in a sober mind, right? Now, keep that in one place. The next thing is near-death experiences. Now, near-death experiences are when people literally pass away clinically, no breathing, no heartbeat, no brain activity. Near-death experiences. When you die and you come back miraculously, okay? There is a lot of people who don't believe in what I'm about to tell you and will argue that drugs like the God molecule will give you the same experience. However, Dr. Raymond Moody has studied thousands of near-death experiences, and I'm going to get into this book in a second, where scientifically he can prove that the two are not the same. Why? Because in near-death experiences, while the experience may be similar to what somebody on DMT, the God molecule, is experiencing, these alternate universes, so on and so forth, they have the people in the near-death experiences consciously can tell you everything that happened when they died. Their souls literally are taken from them, go up, and I'll explain what that looks like, and then come back down, and they are aware of everything that's happening. They can see the doctors, they can see the nurses, they can see them being rescued, they can see their flatline, they can see their stats on the screen. There's one woman who was speaking about her near-death experience, and when people tried to prove her wrong, she said there is a red sticker on the top of that ceiling fan. It says da 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 da, because her body entered the room from above herself and went back into her soul. And that ceiling fan had a red sticker with exactly what she said it did. There have been so many near-death experiences where they can very clearly, one that I just watched, again, these are all ones that I'll link down below, but I'm going to share with you guys the channel of all of these that I've seen. There was one gentleman who, I don't remember if he was in the Navy or what it was, but he was in the ocean in a terrible storm. They put him and like 2 other people up to going on this like rescue boat because they were the most experienced and knew the boat the best. And horrible accident. He ends up drowning. Well, his boat was sandwiched like this. It had closed in on him. And something in the boat, I don't know anything about boats, was like wrapped around his arm. And he was taken from himself. And when he came back to his soul, he saw the boat, basically like a wave had hit and it like flung open, shooting his body upwards, and he dislocated his shoulder because he saw what was around his arm, and he literally saw it pull his arm off. He saw the 2 people that rescued him. He saw everything, and he was able to recite every single little detail very vividly at the end of it all. And so if you're looking for proof, that to me was enough proof to prove that everything that has happened in these studied near-death experiences are real. And when I tell you what happens in these near-death experiences changed my life, changed my spirit, changed my soul, changed me forever. I am forever on a daily basis changed because of everything that I've learned from these experiences that people have bravely shared, and that Dr. Raymond Moody has studied. I will leave you to watch those videos, but a couple of key points that I want that sit with me, that resonate with me, that make me feel like I understand the meaning of my life and our life and the universe's life and the point of it all. Basically, what happens is you pass away. Your spirit, it's an out-of-body experience, your consciousness, and there have actually been medical studies, people who have volunteered that when they pass away, their brains can be analyzed at the time of being passed. There is, I believe it's called your gamma waves. There's like a lot of gamma activity, like nothing that people have ever seen before right before they pass, that has been shown on scans, which is proof that your consciousness is fully, if not even more alive than it ever was when you were here on this earth, right? And so a lot of these experiences are, I might cry talking about this, honestly. You pass away. You're lifted from your body. You can see everything. You can see what's happening, who's there, are they trying to save you, who's crying, who's feeling, whatever it is. And then you're taken into a dark space. Every single one of these experiences that have been studied report that there is a higher being with them, whether you believe that's God, whether you believe that's the universe, whether you believe it's your highest self, whoever it is that you believe in. Every single one of these experiences have shown that there is a higher entity with them that is walking them through this and talking them through this. And they can never see, it's not a person, it's not a face. It is an entity of light. Okay. So, okay, light happens. This person is talking them through it. Feelings, overwhelming feelings of unconditional love. And I can't explain this to you because I have not passed away. I am going to post all of the videos that I've seen or a channel that I've seen so you guys can watch them yourself. An unbelievable feeling of love. The universe saying, you belong here, you are loved. A family of people you've never seen that you have a deep knowing is your family, welcoming you home. Every single person has said this. They were welcomed home by their family. People they've never seen before, but they had this enormous amount of love for. I want you to understand an overwhelming feeling of unconditional love, okay? Then they get taken, they're in the dark space, they have this higher being, they're welcomed by their light family, and everybody reports seeing billions, trillions of little specks of light that they are fully aware are souls, are spirits, are consciousness, okay? They're not just looking at little stars in the sky. They recognize them. They have this deep inner knowing that these are souls, experiences, people, consciousness, love, 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 love. They usually at this point get taken through the light to their life review. So this is where people say that, your life flashes before your eyes when you die. They say it's 7 seconds. All of these reports state that they have years. It feels like they had been there for years. They're in this experience for years, living every single moment of their life from before birth to their death and where they are now. All of them report that this is playing all at once. Some of them report it as like a movie screen. Some of them report it as like, holograms. Some of them report it as they're in a room with like a bunch of screens, and they are living every single moment. And mind you, most of these people are dead for less than a few minutes. They're living and experiencing every single thing that they have ever been through. Every single day of their life, they are able to see, and they are able to focus in on like specific moments. So, if you're sitting there and you say, wow, I want to like go into that memory, they're able to, right? And this is what has stuck with me beyond it all. In your life review, when you focus on specific moments, you're feeling everything again. You're feeling it at the highest consciousness you've ever felt. Your questions are being answered. Your whys, why did this happen? What is going on, are all answered by the higher being that you're with. You have this just absolute understanding of life and the purpose of everything. But in each of those memories, you are also feeling how you made other people feel. Let that sit with you, because that has changed me in ways that will never be undone. The good, the bad. And that's why people say that lower vibrational beings, what the Bible says is hell, are stuck in those memories. They're in that frequency for the rest of however long they're conscious, which is infinite. They're feeling the horrible feelings that they have made people feel over and over and over. There's nothing that you can do, right? People have said it's excruciating. Fights with their sisters, fights with their family members, their partners, their loved ones. They're feeling how those people felt, how you hurt those people. They are feeling it. I hurt so-and-so in this memory that I'm focused in on. They are feeling the pain that person is feeling. They are also feeling all of the incredible feelings that they make people feel. The stranger that you told, hey, your hair looks really good today, what you did to that person. If that person was having a really, really bad day, maybe they were suicidal, and you said this one nice thing that just changed everything, made them so emotional, gave them a hope for life. You're feeling that as well. You're experiencing your life from other people's perspectives. That is something that has changed me to my core. That has changed my perception of my existence and my meaning of life here on this earth. Every single time you cross paths with somebody, you are impacting them, whether you know it or not. The person in the elevator who you're not speaking with, the person in the elevator who you are speaking with, the cashier at the bakery that you're getting your coffee at, the person in line at your job, the person on the phone, the customer service rep that took your call and you're pissed off because your Wi-Fi isn't working. Every single soul that you pass is impacted by you. What is it that you want to do with that? So your life review happens. At this point, most people are saying that they are now in this like beautiful field. They're seeing like just pure beauty. They're understanding consciousness. The plants. A lot of people come back from these experiences vegetarian or vegan because they now have a deep understanding that everything is consciousness. The animals, the sun, the moon, the air, the water, the algae, the people, the souls, the lights, the experiences. My relationships in real life, even my relationship with my animals, has completely changed since doing this research and understanding what life is about, what the real meaning, the real purpose, the real experience of life. I look at everything with compassion, with bleeding amounts of love. Like, an unimaginable amount of love, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you experience in this lifetime. It's about how you have touched and impacted everything around you, not just people. Not just people. So they're in this beautiful field. At this point, usually what happens next is they are told by their soul family that, again, they don't physically recognize, but they have this deep knowing that this is their family. They are told that you have to go back verbatim every time. You have to go back. You don't belong here. And these are the different paths that you can go down. Are you dying and being reborn as a baby? Do you want to go back to the life that you had? If you go back to the life that you had, and people say that when these choices arise, it looks like tree stems. Like, okay, if you go back to the life that you had, then what? How many branches are there from that? Like, what is your choice from that, right? At that point, people are saying that they are literally telling the universe, the higher being, God, I don't want to go back. Please let me stay. Begging, pleading, crying. This is the most beautiful amount of love. I don't want to go back. There's nothing there for me. And most people can see themselves. Somebody said yesterday in an interview that I was watching, he was like, I hate to be so rash, but I was looking at myself like, I'm not going back to that cold meat. That isn't life. This is life. This consciousness, this love, this is life. Almost everybody says at that moment when they argue back, they say, the universe, the family says, no, you have to go. And boom, they start flying back down to their body, and they can, again, see everything. They're seeing the resuscitation. They're seeing their stats, their flat line, whatever, their heart rate, all of that. They're seeing everything, and they can tell you everything. Who was in the room? Who was helping them? Who was crying? And they're seeing all of this all at once, because time and space is not real. So they're seeing all of this, all these memories all at once, and they can focus on everything all at once. This entire experience that for them was a lifetime. So from all of that, I do want to mention Raymond Moody does have his book. It's called Life After Life. I was in Pittsburgh over the weekend. I went to every bookstore that I could possibly stop at. Nobody had this, but everybody knew exactly what I was talking about. This is one of the most transformational books that you'll ever read. I just got started. A lot of it is based off of the stories that I've already seen on YouTube, the interviews. Do me a favor, if you want to understand the meaning of life and you really want to change your life, just do yourself a favor and read this book. There's so many other books about consciousness, and I'm on this, I'm going to be back on YouTube, and we're going to be talking about the things that I want to talk about. This isn't about trends. This isn't about challenges. This is about the lasting impact that I can have while I'm here. And if I can help anybody understand that there is nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. We are all so deeply loved. Even if you don't feel like where you are in your place in life, even if you feel like you don't belong, like you're not loved, like you're hurting, you're in pain, that is not what life is about, and you will never, ever be stuck there. You will always be released into the true meaning of love and light. Love and light. That's all that I can say. Every single one of us, every single living being, everything that has a consciousness, everything is loved. You are so loved for who you are. You are not your past experiences. You have the opportunity today to change everything about who you are and what you do in this world, and who you impact and what you do and the decisions that you make and who you hurt and who you don't. And every single second of every single day, you have the opportunity to leave somebody with an everlasting feeling of love. And I pray that we can all be enlightened to this at some point in life. There are a lot of people who aren't spiritual. There's a lot of people in my life that have no fucking idea what I'm talking about when I talk about spirituality. To them, reality is, okay, like I wake up, I go to work, I clock in, I get paid, I budget my paycheck, this is my life, I book one vacation a year, I'm happy in the experiences, the parties, the trips that I go on, and that is my meaning of life. Having my family and, achieving this amount of dollars at retirement, buying this house, paying this off, and that's at that is not life. That is a physical, like, it's not even existence. It's just a very two-dimensional thought process. That's all there is to you, right? And I'm not shaming anybody for that by any means, but there are so many people in this world that have open souls, that their third eye has opened, that they are enlightened to these type of thoughts. And it's things that a lot of people never wrap their head around. And I am so lucky in this lifetime that I have been open to understanding these things, because it has eased so much of my anxiety. I can tell you right now, I am not at all scared to die. I am not at all scared to leave the people that I love, because I know that I'll be right back. Because I know that even though they're hurting, because the reality is at the moment that I'm not there, I will always be there. I will always be right beside them, seeing everything, communicating with them. I will have like an everlasting first row seat at their life, and I'll have the opportunity to choose to come back and reincarnate. And I will, soul ties are real, right? That was another thing. A lot of people were saying that when you see like your full entire life, you see the beginning of it before you're even born. And it's true. You get to pick your experiences. You have contracts that you have to fulfill while you're here in this lifetime. Now, the universe believes in free will. And so a lot of these people, when they have their near-death experiences, have been said that they've been given the option: are you canceling these contracts, or are you choosing to fulfill this plan that you have planned out and chosen for yourself, right? Your time is not done. There are things that you have to do. There are experiences that you have to go through, right? And so a lot of people sit with the question of like, well, why would I choose such a shitty life? Why would I choose the abuse? Why would I choose the heartbreak? Why was I put into poverty? Why did my mother get murdered? Why did I choose those experiences for myself? And the truth of the matter is, good or bad, all of those things have changed you into who you are. All of those things have opened or closed your soul into who you are and what you perceive the world to be and how you exist moving forward in this life. So the way I look at it is, those negative experiences for me, the loss of my grandma, the pain that I've been through in relationships, the childhood that I had, all of those things have, if I didn't go through those things, I would probably never be enlightened as I am today, because I would never have any reason to look for a why. I would never have any reason to look deeper. And I truly believe that now that I know the why, my heart is open to changing the world in any single way that I can. I don't care if it's the maintenance man downstairs. I don't care if it's my dog. I don't care if it's the stranger, my next deep connection that I have. I don't care who it is. All I know is that I have the power to spread that love. I have the power to spread that joy. You have the power to spread love and positivity and unconditional love to everybody that you cross paths with. The question, what is the meaning of life? Quantum physicists can't answer it, but they do know that there is a universe. They do know that we are not puppets. However, there is something greater than us that is controlling every move, every aspect, every ebb and flow of everything that's happening as we know it right now, right? And everything is energy. Everything is frequency. I do truly believe that if you are, I wouldn't say everybody in your life, but I truly believe that there are people that you cross paths with if you're somebody who is enlightened, and maybe that person is enlightened as well or will be in their future, and your souls are in a contract and you're meant to meet, you will forever be vibrating in parallel frequencies, whether that person, that thing, that dog, that animal, that, whoever it is, that place in your life, you will always be operating on the same frequency in a parallel way, because that's your soul tie, right? There are people who have the ability to access different frequencies that most closed-minded people who are not spiritual, who do not believe in quantum physics or whatever it is, cannot access. You have the power to control all of the energy around you. I need you to know and believe that. You have the power to attract every little particle and atom and thought and experience and anything that you want to. You have the power to be exactly who you are meant to be. But above all, just don't forget that the meaning of life is love. It is universal love. It is universal respect. It is universal clarity. It is a deep knowing that we are all here to just be loved. I probably have so much more to say about that, and I'm going to be releasing videos and talking about topics and consciousness and other books and recommendations that I can give to you. But if this has impacted you in any sort of way, or if you have any thoughts, comments, opinions, or if there's any recommendations, like any videos, any certain interviews, any studies that I should be diving into, please let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to give me a follow. I'm revamping this channel, and I just want you to know that you are so loved. I love you. The universe loves you. God loves you. Your family loves you. You were meant to be here, and do the most with the time that you have.